They're patriots, they're truth seekers. This time I would like to make a short review on the book Gems of Dominion Volume 6 by Stan Wolf or Wolfgang Stadler. Stan Wolf or Wolfgang Stadler says himself that these books are partly fiction and partly based in truth. What is true and what is untrue, everybody has to decide for himself. We will now briefly read the introduction of Volume 6 of Gems of Dominion.
The Gems of Dominion Volume 6 by Stan Wolf. Introduction. What happened so far? When more than 20 years ago 3 German mountain hikers disappeared on the Untersberg mountain, and after 2 months they reappeared on a cargo ship in the Indian Ocean, this aroused Wolf's interest in the time phenomena at the Untersberg mountain in Salzburg, which he had only known as a legend until then. Moreover, Wolf himself had met these 3 people some years before they disappeared on a cabin at the Untersberg mountain. He then had a very mysterious experience in the following years, when he and his daughter Sabine wanted to explore the presumed time anomaly on the mountain. But again, several years passed until, on his frequent trips to remote areas of the rock and sand deserts in Egypt, he and his companion, the teacher Linda, came across similar mysterious phenomena in relation to round black stones the size and shape of an orange. His search became more and more intense until he found such a black stone by chance in the underground chamber of the Pyramid of Khufu. During his further research, he found a little-known legend according to which a Templar knight in the 11th century brought a similar stone from Mesopotamia to the Untersberg mountain. This stone, which according to tradition has been hidden by the Templars in a cave in the mountain, was already searched for by Hitler, who, as we know, had a preference for the Untersberg. Hitler allegedly had clues that the stone would be the key to great power. Wolf subsequently extended his search to Obersalzberg near Berchtesgaden, and with the help of 2 German policemen made an astonishing discovery, which almost became his own doing. Once again, Wolf concentrated the search on the lower mountain and succeeded in solving an explosive secret. He discovered a hidden entrance to the mountain. A general of the Waffen-SS, who had already found this time anomaly in 1943, had a comfortable station built in the rock as his accommodation in the last year of the war, where he could spend over 7 years in just a few months due to the time slowing down in the mountain. Wolf and Linda came into contact with these people from the past and learned things from them that are not found in any history book.
I have already reviewed the first 5 books and 5 short videos on my German channel. If you know how to speak German, check it out. I also did an interview with Wolfgang Stadler. We'll check out a short review here.
In Volume 1 of the series, Stan Wolf describes how he experienced a time anomaly at the Untersberg. He meets General Hans Kammler, who had a station built at Untersberg by the end of the war. Dr. Kammler explains to Stan that the flow of time in Untersberg is 300 times slower than out here. Stan Wolf then gets an order from Dr. Kammler to fly to Fuerteventura to get some valuable crystals. The book ends with the blasting of the entrance to Dr. Kammler's base. In Volume 2, Stan Wolf travels to the past by means of a time corridor or portal. He travels to the year 1776 from Salzburg and sees there how the young Mozart works. Stan Wolf also makes a journey through a time corridor into a potential future. There he sees flying discs in the sky. In Volume 2, Stan Wolf describes how he is invited to the station of Kammler to see the zero-point generator. The zero-point generator has been suppressed by the satanic elites since the time of Nikola Tesla. After the global turning, all these technologies will be available worldwide. The book ends with a quotation from the goddess Sekhmet. In Volume 3, Stan Wolf is shown the station's energy room, and Dr. Kammler says that if he were to recreate it, the energy cartels would very quickly eliminate him. Dr. Kammler says that all these devices will be available worldwide after the global turning. A little later, Dr. Kammler shows Stan Wolf the chronovisor or chronoscope. With the chronoscope you can see the past. Stan Wolf looks through the chronoscope and sees the past of Salzburg, from the steam train around 1920 to the war and troop movements around 1945. Dr. Kammler says that time travel can change history significantly, only small changes can be made to the timelines. The shadow government owns chronoscopes itself and uses these devices for its own benefit. After the global turning and in the new golden age, everybody will be able to see the past with chronoscopes. Stan Wolf at the end of the book holds an Isis ritual of the Isis ring at the Untersberg mountain. In Volume 4 of Gems of Dominion, the Golden Sphere at the Untersberg mountain, Stan Wolf describes a journey to base 3 of the RDs in the distant past. He goes through the time portal and finds himself on an island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Here the RDs live with zero-point energy and wireless energy. All equipment and transportation get free energy. The inhabitants of Base 3 have everything they need to live and are completely autonomous in energy and food. Most of the people here work in research, the guide says to Wolf. The island is protected by a force field to thwart off any potential intruder. Stan Wolf also writes about another writer who published a similar story in the book The Nine Unknowns about the Untersberg mountain. Dr. Kammler admits that he had already contacted someone else to make the story public. At the end of the book, Stan Wolf sees the golden ball at the Untersberg mountain. In Volume 5 of Gems of Dominion, Darkness Under the Sign of the Cross, Stan Wolf writes about the witch persecutions in the Middle Ages and in the modern era. Because of his criticism of the Church, Stan Wolf's company went bankrupt. He mentions in the book the Hexenkartothek, the research project of the Third Reich about the witch burnings. He further writes in the book that he went through a dimensional portal and went ashore in Argentina with 2 guard soldiers from the station. Stan Wolf says that there are many portals around the world and that in theory anyone could walk through them. The shadow government knows about these portals or stargates and uses it to their advantage. Furthermore, Stan Wolf tells about the 12 churches at Untersberg mountain, which apparently should not exist. He describes beautiful churches and cathedrals with time anomalies. I reviewed the first 5 books of Stan Wolf. If you know German, check it out. I also did an interview with Wolfgang Stadler or Stan Wolf.
In Volume 6 of Gems of Dominion, The Power of the Sacred Mountains, Stan Wolf is invited to a central event at the station of Dr. Kammler, where he sees that the Imperial Germans are preparing for the global turning. But Dr. Hans Kammler is at a base at Untersberg mountain where time flows 300 times more slower than out here. This means that 1 day at the station of Dr. Kammler equals to 300 days outside, or around 10 months, and Dr. Kammler has the ability to travel into the past, present, and future with his time portals or dimensional portals. We will now read a part of the book of Volume 6.
Chapter 13 from Volume 6 of Gems of Dominion. A feeling of departure in the station. Completely surprisingly, Obersturmbannführer Weber announced himself with an SMS on Wolf's cell phone. A meeting was planned once again at the marble fountain in front of the old inn. He should come however alone, as always without a cell phone. Since the old inn was closed on Monday, it was easy for Wolf to get a parking space right next to the fountain under the chestnut tree. He wanted to stay in his car to see from which direction the general and Weber would come, so he was already there half an hour before the agreed time at the well and waited. As expected, the 2 came from Berchtesgaden and walked like tourists. Nobody would have thought that they would be high-ranking people from the Third Reich. After a brief greeting, the general said, "We will show you something today, but for that we should take your car for a drive. Weber will tell you where to go." Wolf just nodded, started the car, and waited for the instructions of the Obersturmbannführer. The latter directed him in the direction of Berchtesgaden, and after about 2 kilometers on a forest path in the direction of the Untersberg, the sign which indicated this path as a closed forest area was simply ignored. "This is where we have to get off," Weber said, almost in a commanding tone. Whereupon Worf looked for an alternative place to park to allow possibly passing vehicle to pass through. "It's not far from here," said Kammler, "but we couldn't use the entrance by the bridge over the water today." After a short walk through the mountain forest on the left side, the 3 of them came to an old gallery, which seemed to reach only a few meters into the mountain. The daylight still illuminated the short passage sufficiently, and Weber made himself busy on the right side of the gallery. Suddenly, the rock at the end of the passage pushed to the side and a brightly lit corridor lay in front of them. Obersturmbannführer Weber went ahead, and shortly after the rock closed behind them again. Nevertheless, this entrance had to be a kind of dimensional gate as well, Wolf thought, because he recognized various facilities that he remembered from previous visits to the general station. Nevertheless, they had to be kilometers away from the main entrance of the station. But with a dimensional portal or gate, both distances and times could be bridged effortlessly. Twice they passed saluting SS soldiers in their black uniforms posted in front of the doors. "We will now cross over to another base," Weber said, again operating a mechanism on a portal. Before Wolf could ask anything else, all 3 were standing in a room equipped with state-of-the-art technical facilities. It seemed to be a communication center with many monitors and measuring devices. In front of it were people in grey uniforms, which did not all resemble those of the Imperial Germans. "We are here in the communication center of Base 4, said the general. "This base is the present. Where exactly this base is located is not important. We have access from here to all the locations on this planet. Whether in China, Russia, or the Middle East, or the USA, we can observe everything, and we have been doing this for quite some time. But see for yourself." He pointed to a wall full of monitors on which the current events in Turkey, Ukraine, Syria, and Israel could all be seen in real time. Images of unrest were also shown from Egypt, Libya, Iraq, and Central Africa. Troop movements in many countries on almost all continents were also shown on the screens. The massive increase in the numbers of alarming events possibly pointed to an impending global conflict, Wolf thought. The general continued, "It is an unmistakable sign that more and more people all over the world are rebelling against corruption and oppression, which for many people means bitter need, hunger, and poverty. The governments concerned have taken over a hard line towards their own people, and there have been and still are numerous deaths. This is now the beginning of the upheaval or global change, about which I have already spoken to you several times. We here in the Untersberg and our bases around the world are ready for our mission."
As in the other books, Stan Wolf talks about his travels and mysterious encounters. He describes how he and Isis Ring hold a Samhain ritual at the Untersberg mountain, and he also describes how he and Claudia traveled to Mauritius to swim with dolphins. In the middle of the book, Stan Wolf shows pictures of people and relics that he met during his travels. I think it's possible that the Imperial Germans have a base at the Untersberg mountain. After all, Dr. Kammler was the head of the Temporal Research Division of the SSE-4. Dr. Kammler was the head of the Temporal Research Division of the Waffen-SS. He was the project leader of projects Lantern Bearer, Project Kronos, and Project Glocke. These projects really existed back then. According to the books of Stan Wolf, there's a parallel universe where the Imperial Germans won World War II. In this timeline, there's a Pax Germanica on Earth, and there's universal peace. There is no financial slavery, no mental slavery, and everybody knows the facts or truth. Everybody has a good job and can found a family. That's how it is in this parallel universe. If you would like to have the signed version of the books, just send an email to Wolfgang Stadler. The email is in the description or visit this website. I hope you found this video informative and entertaining. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, or press the bell button. And if you can make a small donation, the details are in the description. Many greetings from Saxony, Germany, and cheers!